Welcome to a Friday Read, where I talk about what I read, what I'm reading, what I hope to get to next. I'm loving my curls today. I don't know why they're choosing to be so pretty, but I'm going with it. When you have curly hair, you don't get to decide what they do. That's not how it works. And I'm feeling pretty good. I have actually finished 3 things already this month. I have a book club I'm going to go to tonight. I just watched this really fun tier ranking video. I'll show the thumbnail here. You should go check it out. It's tier ranking for Verkostigan and Dresden Files. And I didn't really pay attention to the Dresden Files part because I have read the first 4 and I don't think I'm ever going to go back to it. Never say never. It's not a priority at the moment. But I adore Verkostigan and it was just very fun watching that. And now I have to think about if I'll make my own or not. It was just a fun time. And they were spoiler free about all of it. So it also made it very easy for me to enjoy what I wanted to be there for and not ruin my chances to read Dresden one day. But yeah, that also just brings us into the first book though. So those are 2 very long running series. And I just enjoyed that discussion. It's why I love bookish chats with people. And I've been trying to think of another long running series to try. And so I started Discount Armageddon, the first book in the Encrypted series by Shauna McGuire. She has 2 urban fantasy series. She has October Day series and this one. And so this is the one I just have all the books because of the Hugos. And my coworker wanted to read it. And so we did. And it follows Verity, who is a ballroom dancer and also a part of this family that's in charge of making sure that the encryptids in our world don't overstep and harm humans, but also protecting the encryptids. And she's trying to decide if she's only going to do the family business or if she can make it as a ballroom dancer. She's in New York City. There's stuff that happens that are very urban fantasy coded. It was just fun. It was just fun. If you like things that are Buffy adjacent, I think you should give it a go. It's also very episodic. So I'm going to read more because my coworker wants to read more, but I wouldn't have to. It had a very clear ending point to this story by the end of the first book. So yeah, I think it was good, but not great, which I do feel is the standard for some of these urban fantasies that came out in the early 2000s. Well, this one's 2011, 2012. So yeah, that's all I really have there. The other one that I finished is, so this is for book club tonight. And this is, what's it called? Rental Person Who Does Nothing. It's a very short memoir, but it's going to be great for my Herkit because not only is it a memoir, so it's going to work for a nonfiction prompt, it's a translation. So that alone was a reason to read this book. But also my friend Shannon, she used to have a channel, That's So Poe, had read this and brought it up when we were book shopping when she came to visit me. And so I was just interested in it. I was just okay. And it was interesting. I'm very curious to see how the book discussion goes tonight. Because this person is just very interesting, weird, interesting. Part of it is, I don't know how much of it is, he is really pushing against, I think, cultural, societal norms in Japan. So I don't really have a strong basis for what it feels like to be in the culture of Japan. What are the societal expectations and the norms and how you interact with people compared to how I live now. But I also just I'm not the type of person who bucks against stuff like that. I am more likely to be more comfortable if I try to fit into societal norms of the social expectations of just go out with them to have food if they asked or something with friends. I don't know. It's not a lot of things that were a huge imposition to him would not be a huge imposition to me. And so that was just really interesting to just be in the head of someone who is so not like me at all. I think that's where the interesting thing is. It's not that his brain is wrong. It's just I've actually never read a memoir by someone so not like me. And it was just interesting. And I do think, so this book originally came out in Japan, I think in 2019, 2018. And I don't think it was translated until 2023. I could be really wrong about those dates, but I think that's what I saw around. Because I wanted to see if anything was updated. Because when this memoir came out, he was not accepting anything but travel expenses and food. But I think now he does kind of have a people choose how much they pay sort of system for it. He has a whole section about how it's not volunteer work, but I don't know, there's a whole section about money. But it was also just interesting seeing the requests he got. And yeah, I think some of it also just felt very relatable of sometimes you just don't want to be alone, but you don't want to ask a friend to do something with you because it just feels like an extra burden. Like some things were relatable in terms of why this service made sense. But like this individual himself didn't like blend in my brain. And again, I don't know how much of that is just like him specifically, very weird, or is there this cultural dissonance of like, I was not raised in Japan, you know, I was raised in the Midwest. So there's just gonna be differences there. So yeah, it was very interesting. I'm excited to try it, like see what people took away from it at the book club tonight. Because last month when I tried to read for book club, I got sick, but I'm not sick today. And so I can go and it's gonna be good. Although my brain is trying to give me a migraine, but that's not the same as being contagious. So I fight through those 99% of the time. The other thing I finished was More Perfect by Temi O. And she's chonky. She's chonky. She's like 580 pages. She's a big girl. I really liked it. I don't know if the ending was what I wanted, but for the majority of the time, I was like 4 to 4.5 star, and then the ending is maybe like 3.5 to 4, so it's probably like a 4-star book. And it kind of matches my outfit today. I do like this more than Do You Dream of Terror 2, but they're very different books. So if you've read Do You Dream of Terror 2, I don't know if it will really inform if you will like this book or not, other than maybe, you know, if you liked it, you should try this. But if you didn't like Do You Dream of Terror 2, I don't know if that's a good metric for if you won't like this one. Things I really liked about it was the blending of the retelling. I actually think this is one of the best sci-fi retellings of a myth that I've ever read. And I've read a few. There are people who like to play around with different myths in sci-fi settings. This one is Eurydice and Orpheus, and I think how it's translated and twisted and adapted is amazing. Especially with some of the themes that nowadays people are putting into Eurydice and Orpheus, like with Hades Town. That is currently the zeitgeist of that myth, whether that's part of how the original is, but there's a lot of like, I mean, there's always a tragedy to Orpheus and Eurydice, but there's also just this ache of loneliness and the failure of the circumstances around them where like, man, maybe they could have been if the world didn't X. That fatalistic feeling that I think we get in Hades Town definitely exists here. And like Hades Town also has a lot of stuff about corporations and capitalism, and that also exists here. So I don't know if Temi O has consumed Hades Town, but it definitely is in agreement with a lot of the themes I think are currently in our modern interpretation of this myth. That said, the thing I also adore about it, and probably the thing that let me down the slightest bit by the end, is the sci-fi element. So this is near future, and we have these things that people get called pulses that put an augmented reality filter. It's basically gives them all this information, and it's kind of that classic near future sci-fi where it's like, should everyone do it? Should people not do it? What are the pros and cons of total adoption? Like a book that reminded me of this is We Are Satellites, which had a thing that allowed for like complete multitasking. So the tech itself is really cool. And again, like this book came out, I think 2023. And of course we've had learning languages models for a long time. And generative AI was definitely up there, but it wasn't the same conversations we're having now. And obviously you don't write the book the year it's released. But I couldn't not think about our current new reliance on different generation AI techniques. What it does to people's ability to do things solo. And this book and how it has this augmented reality. Like they're not the same tech, but how the tech is affecting how society functions and how even people will have conversations of, well, if you don't do this, you'll fall behind. Like the number of times I've heard, oh, well, we have to learn how to use this or else we won't know how to use the tools. And, you know, like it's a lot of just like easy, shallow, it's new tech. So it's both, some people think it's super scary and some people think you have to buy in completely. And of course it's nuanced. And especially when it's in the baggage of capitalism, it's going to be a mess. And I really liked the conversation of that in here. I didn't really like I really liked how we were threading these two kind of purposes until the very, very, very end. I think the actual text story fell a little flat for me by the very end, but I really don't regret reading this, and I'm really glad I owned it, and it was just like really fun to just be engaged and enjoying a really chonky sci-fi book. Like that's just how I felt. So yeah, I recommend it. I think it's underhyped by a lot. I don't think it helps that for some reason in the United States, we do not have the licensing for the audiobook. It exists. You just can't get it in the United States. which like I know is a thing for a lot of countries a lot of the time. It just seems like a very weird financial decision because we are the largest market, I think. I don't know if I'm completely right on that, but I do think the United States has, if not the largest, top 3 largest markets for books. So I know any of my people who like need audiobooks, I'm sorry, add it to the list of other books that I have around that I'd like people to read that don't have audiobooks accessible to the majority of my audience. But if you do live in Europe or the UK or Canada and you have access to the audiobook, give it a go. I haven't listened to it. I also did like eyeball reading it, but I recognize that this is very thick and audiobooks can be very helpful with very thick reads. The thing I'm in the middle of is the new Tasha Suri, The Isle in the Silver Sea. Is that the name of it? This is also trying to be a tragedy. Don't know if it will be a tragedy, but it's definitely the idea of, like, it's the idea of this island being built and powered by stories, which is already the coolest thing. And how that works with the incarnations of these stories and how they literally, like, embed into people. And our main characters are 2 people who are part of this tragic story where they're meant to fall in love and kill each other, or one's meant to kill one of them or something like that. It's meant to be a tragedy, The Witch in the Night. And I'm just enjoying learning about the world. I'm enjoying seeing them interact with each other, trying to both fight their story, but also they're drawn to each other just as 2 individuals would be. It's sapphic. It's just a good time. The narrator's the same as the Jasmine Throne series, so I've been able to listen to this because Libro FM gave me a copy early. So if you don't know what Libro FM is, it's a good subscription service audiobook thing. You can buy a credit a month, or you can just buy books and you can choose which local bookstore to get your money from that. So this has been my audiobook. I took a little break for Rental Person Who Does Nothing because that was like a very quick audiobook, like honestly shorter than like 2 podcast episodes, like incredibly short. And so this is interesting because I do just like the tension of like what's happening in this world. And it's obviously about how like stories of a land get morphed and things get deleted and how, and like who is in charge of the story is in charge of the land. And like, there's obviously something going on there, like that I'm very much enjoying being in the background of the tension. But also we have the tension of the 2 individuals. And also there is a 3rd person and we don't know what his deal is. And I'm very interested in that. And the magic's just cool. There's like this scribe magic with like this tattoo ink and like how it can give attributes based off stories. Like the story magic is done in a way that I've like feels familiar and yet have never seen it done before. I'm halfway through, so I'm hoping it sticks the landing, but that'll be my audiobook for the foreseeable future. And then my next audio/physical read will probably be The Possession of Alba Diaz. Probably. I really want to read this. Like, oh my god, look how pretty she is. Look how pretty she is. I just want to read her. Oh, that's pretty. Pretty naked too. I just like the. But I haven't started it yet, so I have negative thoughts. No thoughts other than it's gorgeous. The book that I should get back to, that is just my physical read, maybe I'll immersion read it if I feel like it, is Remember You Will Die. Because this is, remember how I said I'm in the middle of 2 books. This one's technically one that I'm still listed as like 20% of the way in, even though I haven't touched it for weeks. And I just feel like that would feel very good momentum-wise, and it will help me with the Herkhead square. And then I will finish off my awards square. So like that would be nice. I also like the puzzly nature of that one. So if I keep having this momentum of being able to read, I think that's going to be my main physical read. I'll finish the audiobook, and then I'll use this as probably a blended. And then I'll figure out next week what I'm doing next, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't think I have any other thoughts about any media, really. We've been starting to finish up What We Do in the Shadows, because it's spooky season. We've been watching Wednesdays, the 2nd season, because my friend really loves it. And I'm behind on Great British Bake Off. That's it. That's what we're watching. What are you reading, doing, or watching this weekend? Are you interested in More Perfect? Are you? I will say it's pretty depressing. Like it's depressing though in like I found a cathartic way. But I'm not gonna sit here and be like it's happy. But I feel like you know that if you know it's Orpheus and Eurydice, And if you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here. Let us do an eyeball, because this is an eyeball iris. It's meant to be, I think, the logo for the company in this world. The company that's definitely on everyone's side. No evil malice in there at all. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.